Art Snyder. He flew 38 B-26 interdiction missions in North Korea. 50 missions is a complete tour. He was reassigned to the CIA as a CIA pilot for 10 psychological warfare missions with B-29s. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here. And on final combat crew tour, he flew 65 B-26 interdiction missions over North Korea from Thailand and Danang, Indochina. And then he left the Air Force as a B-57 Canberra instruction pilot. Thank you.
Other than that, he did nothing.
That's right.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
You want to sit down? Or you stand up?
I have not heard a word that anyone said on the introductions. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stanley Grogan was my Q-13 radar instructor on my B-29, reconnaissance B-29, that we flew for 2 years together, basically at a Clark in the Philippines, but really all over the Orient. We were CIA, psychological warfare in violation of the Geneva Convention. We were classified as war criminals. Stanley and I kept close touch with each other for 70 years. 2 years ago, I couldn't contact him. I've been trying for 2 years to figure out what happened to him. Last week, I got a copy of Graybeard magazine, and they had an article that I distributed about Stanley, and what I suspected happened. So, what I did is, when I found this, I wrote up a history about Stanley, and 2 days ago, I sent it to Art Sharp, who's the editor of Graybeards. So, I'll give you some of what I wrote, if you don't mind. Thanks to the July-August edition of Graybeards, it answers a question I have for 2 years. What happened to Stanley Grogan? I suspected I knew the answer, but hesitated to accept it. Stanley and I have kept in touch with each other for 70 years. 2 years ago, when I called him, we didn't communicate well. I don't think he knew who I was, and I feared dementia. Since then, I have tried every way to know to find out status of Stanley. Did I pass out with a lot of writing on it? Yeah?
Anybody
Yeah,
have
give it to
something?
me.
Yeah,
One of them has.
No.
Handwritten
notes.
Somebody with handwritten.
Handwritten one. One of them.
No.
No, that's not.
No.
Must be
Don't
some-
worry.
Who flew into the sky forever on February 24th, 2021, was an ardent supporter, Korean War Veterans Association, and a frequent contributor to Graybeards, and so am I. Grogan flew in several types of aircraft during his service. He flew his second combat mission tour as a Renaissance version of the B-29, which was used to drop leaflets in enemy territory. One such leaflet offered $50,000 for enemy pilots who defected with a MiG. 2 pilots did just that. In his later years, Stanley met one. We wanted to get a MiG-15. MiG-15 and the F-86 dueled in Korea. The F-86 overall was a better plane, but the MiG-15 had 2 advantages. One, it was faster, but the big advantage it had a service ceiling that was 3,000 feet higher than the 86. So MiG could go up where the 86 couldn't get to them and come down and attack. So we wanted to get 2 MiG-15s, or at least one, to find out why they had these advantages. The CIA I was flying for printed up leaflets in Chinese and Russian, and it said, if you fly the K-8 Korea, come in, flap your wings, land, we'll give you $50,000 and make you an instant citizen of the United States. 50,000 was a lot of money back then.
It's a lot of money now.
I flew into China to a MiG base and dropped these leaflets. I flew into Russia and dropped the leaflets at a MiG-15 base. That one I should not have come out alive. The MiG-15 picked me up, but we'll go into that a little later. We got 2 MiG-15s. The first pilot went to University of Chicago and got a PhD in organic chemistry. Very, very successful person. Oh, the RB-29 made flights over enemy territory from Yokota Air Base in Japan. Grogan went on many of them after completing his training. The squadron engaged in highly classified missions in South Asia.
Yeah.
Stanley and I had a chance meeting on the plane going from K-9 Korea to Clark Air Force Base, Philippines. In the summer of 1952, he had finished a tour in Korea in the backseat of an F-94, and I had completed 39 missions of a tour in B-26s, destroying anything that moved in North Korea. Shot down on the 38th mission, received a serious concussion, and they decided I should not fly any more 26s there. It was a CI wing. We were engaged in we were assigned to a new wing being formed, the 581st Air Resupply and Communication Wing, a complete misnomer. It was a CIA wing for psychological warfare in violation of the Geneva Convention, which makes you a war criminal. We were assigned to reconnaissance B-29 missions to fly to strange places, not to discuss where we went or what we did for 50 years. We had no guns, planes painted black, no USAF markings. Thank God. If it did, Stanley and I would be pushing up daisies about 30 miles north of Vladivostok. Luckily, Russia had identical B-29s. The MiG came up to intercept me at 20,000 feet. Didn't realize it was an American B-29. They just couldn't figure out what the strange plane was doing there.
Lucky for you.
What?
Lucky for you.
Lucky for me, it's right, I'd be pushing up daisies.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. On January the 6th, 53, 4 B-29s went up to go to Japan, fly psychological warfare missions in North Korea area. One plane at night. Of interest, on the way up, we turned on Korean Katie, who knew more about our missions than we did. She said we were going to fly missions in violation of the Geneva Convention and such. We are war criminals. She said our wing commander, Colonel Arnold, would fly the first mission on January 7th. They would shoot him down. He did, and they did.
Wow.
Yeah. We lost a wing commander and some other of the top brass on our first mission. Stanley and I flew our first mission of our 10 missions on the third night. Stanley, of course, being our radar operator. We were not to discuss where we went, what we did, but they were brutal missions. That's one little board I'm finished. Back to Clark, as we continued Renaissance missions to strange places, one worth mentioning is the Northern Thailand. On that one day, they got our starboard engine. We could not make it back to Clark on 3 engines and had to land in Big Bangkok for repairs. Our crew was treated royally. Unfortunately, we ate the local food. Stanley and I ended up in a hospital with amoebic dysentery. I am not completely cured. Stanley was our B-29 radar operator for 2 years. I may believe was classified as 100% disabled with post-traumatic stress disease, combat fatigue, as I am also. I am considered unemployable, and Stanley was. We both kept a close touch over the years. And I'll just tell you one other story I don't tell about Stanley that should have had us killed. We were coming back from a brutal B-29 flight in, let's call it North Korea or someplace else. When you've been in a hurricane or tornado in Japan, it's nothing like the United States. It's much, much, much more violent. We were at 20,000 feet, pea soup fog. The leading edges of our plane were loaded up with static electric St. Elmo's fire. What interests me, if you touch the plastic glass, it shot a scream out like that. But what interests me is a propeller going around fast, but let's say basketball size of static electricity was going around this speed slow, and it get heavier and it roll off. Stanley said we're over Dakota, and I could not contact the base, no matter how hard I tried. I said I'll go down to 8,000 feet, maybe at the lower level I can. Stanley started screaming, "Climb, climb, climb!" He made a navigation error. We were 60 miles north at 8,000 pea soup fog with mountain peaks 10,000 feet all around us. We came in, Stanley took his wings off, threw them down, said I'll never fly again. We finally, I'll come back. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.